I ditched my hinge date on the side of the road just before we started the date, and I drove off. And he looked fucking pissed, and he was waving his hands out like this. He's like, why? And I turned the corner and I didn't feel any regret. And this is why. For a very long time in my life, I have felt immense hate towards myself. I feel like this is it's a girlhood experience. Everyone experiences that sense of hate that covers your body and it coats your skin. You feel like everything is oily and everything you touch just doesn't make sense. I mean, you wake up and you go through your day-to-day stuff and you start nitpicking things that you do, like the way you say muffin, and then you think that doesn't even sound right, and I sound ridiculous. Now, I've been dating for a while. I've had 2 serious relationships. I've gone through all of what a relationship can entail, the best and then the worst. I've been on the dating scene, going through Hinge, never Tinder, because I'm not that out there. I know what you, there's no hiding in Tinder. They just want to fuck. Now, let me give you a bit of context to what happened, before I drove away. Have already been like teetering the line of not wanting to date anymore. I feel like a lot of the time when my self-hatred would kick in is because it's based on me feeling like I have to gravitate towards someone in order to feel fulfilled with my life. I feel like a lot of the time in my life has been garnering wanting to be loved rather than wanting to be my own person. When I was really little, all the way up to when I was in high school, the only aspiration I had was to be in love and to have a relationship. And that sounds very beautiful and, whimsical and stuff. But as time moved on, I started developing my personhood, and obviously that's not a healthy aspiration to have, like hoping that one person can fulfill all your needs and all your dreams and development on a daily basis. That'd be pressure inducing. It wasn't realistic, but I think at the time I didn't even think I was going to make it through high school, so I didn't really even have an idea of what I wanted to do for my dream job or what uni I wanted to go to and all this sort of stuff. So that's like the first thing that I thought that I've had passion about. There was a point in 2023 where I was dating, and I had dangerous experiences, and I experienced sexual violence at a Hinge date. I'm just saying I would put myself in dangerous situations to feel validated. I didn't really have a sense of myself. I was still garnering that, and I was still commencing it, because the first date with this person that ended up being very scary, and that essay, we literally started the date at an abandoned building where everything was collapsed, and it was a known area for this house you can go through, and it's all abandoned. All the industrial stuff is collapsed in, the staircases are collapsed in, and it's I don't know why I did that, because it's such a dangerous thing for a woman to do. Izzy, the red flags are going off and you're just avoiding them, you're going straight through the red, and I'm not blaming myself in that situation at all, but I'm just saying I didn't care for my life back then. I didn't really held any worth or any value to my life, and I felt like an addict because I was so fueled by the validation of it all. It drives me. It made me feel alive and thrilled, and those times were very traumatic, and I thought in my head, oh, it's traumatic, but you know what, the next one will come and I'll get my validation boost. And I kept going through my life seamlessly. I started getting back into dating recently. It was 5 days ago. I was out with my friends. I was having a good time. I was just gelling it, doing my thing. I was seeing my babies, and I was like, arrgh. And I was having a good time, but I also have the tendency to double book things, and then I make it a mission in myself to try to evaluate what I can do after that, so I can jam pack my fucking planner, my calendar, so I can efficiently make everything so organized that I can just do everything at once. When I can't do everything at once, I need to say no. One Hinge date was oh, let's do a date tonight. And I was oh, I could be spontaneous, but also I was already coming to the end of wanting to do dating. So I was I'll do one more date. and then I'll delete it because I was very much done with it at that point. I had experiences before then and dates before then where I just felt like my heart can get broken. So I was just like, okay, dating is just not for me for now. But I just wanted to give this the chance. As I'm hanging out with my friends, I realized I don't want to leave. I'm having a good time with my friends. I'm not gonna choose a guy over my friends. I want to spend the most time with them. So I kept pushing it back, and maybe I was being annoying, and I was like, oh, can we do it this time? Because the night just kept getting later and later and later. And I at this point, I was trying to figure out how to say, no, I think it's not gonna happen tonight. I'm sorry, I've been mucking you around. Instead of doing that, I just kept saying, oh, we'll do it later. And then it got to a part at the night where I was like, oh, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And then I'm like, I can leave now if you want. And he's like, oh yeah, we can just have some drinks in my house. And I'm like, I don't drink. And at your house, man, don't be so broad. I mean, I know it's like 11:30 at night, but like, I just thought you would just say like, oh, can't do it. But at that point, I was like, still like, oh, I'm being so like frustrating. I don't take risks. I don't do anything. I should go. And I went to leave to go home, but then I started driving to the address he gave me because I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I've been pushing this guy's time back all this time. And he's waiting, and etc. And then I was like 10 minutes into driving, and I found myself like numb in the brain, like not really saying anything. And that's a crazy experience for me because I'm always saying something in my head. Like there's never a moment of silence up there. My mind is never empty. There's something always going on. So I realized at that point that I was like, okay, I'm gonna tune into what my brain is saying. And as soon as I started tuning into that, I felt my gut, like, punch me. Like, I felt these receptors going off in my head, and I was ignoring them, and, like, not even realizing that I'm ignoring them because it's been inbuilt in me for a very long time to just ignore them and go along with the flow. So I was like, okay, I'm going to acknowledge them. It's really late at night. You don't know this man. This is our first date, and he's inviting you to the house. If he's not going to murder you, he's going to want to do some freaky stuff, and you don't want to do some freaky stuff. The reason you wanted to go on Hinge is so you can feel a connection, and you don't want that stuff anymore. So all this stuff is happening at once, and I'm still driving. Oh shit. Yeah. And then my brain was like, for the first time, like, For a while, I've had these receptors. I'm not saying I'm like this person that just goes along with everything, goes, yeah, okay, I guess so. No, but this is the first time I actually was able to be aware of those receptors and actually listen to them and hear my gut. Because my gut was saying, this is a bad idea. 1, you don't want to get murdered. You don't know this man. 2, even if you get there, what do you think's going to happen? You don't want anything freaky deaky to happen because you're past that portion of your life. But I get there regardless. As I come to this conclusion in my head that I don't want to do it anymore, I'm there. So I'm like, fuck, what am I supposed to do? At this point, I've made up my mind in my head. There's no changing my mind in my head. As soon as I make a decision, and I rarely make decisions, I'm going to stick to that decision. Like, there's no immovable object, no fast whatever fucking thing that will stop it, the like unstoppable force. There's nothing that's going to stop me from leaving now and going back home and getting maybe a milkshake on the way, like from McDonald's, even if it's shitty, but there's a good milkshake one near my house. So I pull up to the house, and it's the sketchiest neighborhood I've ever seen in like the words of like my head, like monster house level. It looks like all the grass is overgrown. There's like the window plane that's like falling off. Everything in my head is going ee-oh, ee-oh, ee-oh. And at this point, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of frozen because I'm thinking of all the scenarios on how I can get out of the situation, how I can move my way out of the situation. I'm like that one deaf girl in that horror movie. I'm trying to think of all the scenarios and how to get out of the situation. And he starts walking down. Oh my God. I'm I'm gonna lose him. And yeah, he looks like his photos. I'm not saying he doesn't look like his photos, but I just feel this feeling, like this off feeling in my chest. It's like caving in on me, and everything is kind of like flustering my head at once. I just had a long night at like the club, which I don't normally do, but I went out tonight because I wanted to party. Bad vibes straight away. I feel that gut instinct like kicking on the roof of my belly, like going boom, boom, boom. And I know I don't have no baby, so I can feel that gut and I can feel that anxiety. I go like, I just dissociate, and he's like talking about like, oh, come on inside. And he's like trying to push me into like making a decision quickly. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I actually want to go inside or not. No, yeah, well, I don't know. And he's like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really want to do it. And he's like, what? You've been messaging me all night. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, what's that on your wheel? And I'm like, oh, it's just a reminder to turn down the music because I get scared when I get in the car. Because I literally have a reminder on my wheels thing because I get freaked out every time I jump in my car because I play like something crazy and then I turn up the sound all the way and I scream it all the way home and then I turn off the car and then I freak myself out and I'm like, oh! Adele, calm down. He's like, oh, maybe we can talk about that more inside. And like, I could see him eyeing me up, like looking me up and down like I'm this meat that he's gonna eat. And I don't want to be eaten. I don't want that. No. I just want to relax. He was like, oh yeah, just come up. And I'm like, actually, I want to get food. And he's like, oh yeah, well, we can go get GYG. There's like a midnight one and it's open late. And I'm like, okay. We can take my car. And then he's like, oh, okay. And I said, do you need anything else? Like, before we leave? And he's like, I think I need to grab my wallet and my keys. I'm like, okay. And I'm still, like, staring out into the distance. Like I'm seeing, like, the fourth dimension or something. Like, I'm having a That's So Raver moment. Like, I'm just in my own world. And he's like, you're not going to drive away, right? I'm like, no, why would I do that? He's like, you're not going to drive away though, right? I want you to come inside, you know? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. There was a part of me inside of me that was like, oh, I'm being a cunt, you know? Like, I'm being an asshole and I'm not being nice. And then, like, everything else was screaming out to, like, go. And so as soon as he turned around, I put the fucking foot to gas. Go! I floored it out of there, and I could see him in the bag putting his hands up. Oh, shucks, you know? And that made me think. I never used to be able to think in these situations. I just would like go with the implemented thoughts in my head from like the things that I've grown up around me saying, just follow through, just be kind, just be nice, just do the polite thing. And every time I did that, I would end up in a worse situation. And I've had so much like violence in sexual and all that terrible things happen to me. And every time that would happen, I would hear this thing at the back of my head being like, no, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Just be polite. And I didn't really think anything other than that. And I think it's important. I just wanted to talk about, it's good. It's good when you fucking find out that you have the fucking, like, the will to be a bitch, to protect yourself. Because to be a bitch, yeah, you're not gonna get liked by a lot of people. But fuck, like, I kept thinking as I was driving away that my gut instinct was so fucking strong. I felt like if I stayed, something bad would have happened. And I just thought, I'd rather do this and, like, make a man unhappy and make a man, like, pissed off at a woman then be dead, you know? Like, I know I wouldn't probably have gone to that point, but these things have happened where, like, women, like, give people the benefit of the doubt and they end up dead. And I just kept thinking as I was driving away, thank God I care about myself. Like, what if like, a year ago, maybe I wouldn't have cared about myself and I would have went in that house and I don't know what would have happened in that sketchy house and with a person I don't even know who is already looking at me as if I'm like an object. Like, it's upsetting. And I'm all for hookup culture. If you like it, then go for it. If you want to experience it, you can experience it. I experienced it. I didn't enjoy it. But that's just the person I am. I'm just saying it's taxing to a degree, you know? Like, giving parts of yourself away in order to feel like validated or pleasure. And there's been so many times where I wanted to have that second thought in my head that would contest the now, because when things are happening so fast and things are pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, it's really hard to have a thought in that moment, and it's really hard to gauge yourself and gauge what you want in that moment, because if you're constantly being pushed to the next moment, then you don't have a chance to think. I mean, that's what scammers do. They like push, and then you start, you know, doing the transaction and everything. So it's hard to have a thought in between that. So I think when I like, I've had so many bad dates. I've had so many bad dates where I've been like, like I wanted to like shout in my head, why am I even here? But I only whisper that in my head enough that I just like kind of ignore it, and I just allow those things to take away. And like, I remember I had this really bad date with this guy like a couple of years ago. Oh my god, it was so bad. Like, he said, he was like, I'm gonna make you dinner, I'm gonna make you pesto chicken. And I was like, oh, okay, cook. Okay, his pictures were good. I was like, okay, exciting. And I got there and he burnt the chicken. He burnt the chicken. And it was the most shit pesto chicken I've ever had. And he kept talking about Billy Joel. Oh my god. And then he played me the guitar. Is this like a world experience every woman has where they like, guitar comes out and you just know that you have to like endure it for 2 hours? I think he did play it for 2 hours. And he sung a little. I can sing a little. But in that moment, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then I just I just go along with whatever's going on. You know what's a fucking terrible systematic thing that's built into our heads sometimes? Let's just get on with it. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Like, sometimes a date is so bad, but you as a woman feel so much empathy that you just say, okay, let's get on with it then. Let's just hook up and give him what he wants. I've had that like a couple of times where that's happened. I'm like, oh, let's just do it. Because I don't want to get killed. Genuinely. You told me you have a knife and I don't want to end up dead. So I guess this is going to happen regardless. In other situations that aren't like that, but like, you just can't be bothered to fight it. Like, that's so fucked up. That's such a fucking like draining thing and a daunting thing to say, like, I don't have any choice in this, but I can't be bothered to fight for my choice. And you have too much empathy for someone that you don't want to reject them, so you just give them what they want. That's crazy. So I think when that moment when I was driving away and I was genuinely certain that I was fine with not dating, and I was fine with not going back on Hinge, because I used to think, oh, these bad dates, they build character, you know, that it's for the story arc or whatever. But it's not. You don't need unneeded bad shit to happen to you, and you don't need to subject yourself to an indecision and let your autonomy get taken away from you. Because genuinely, most of these fucking Hinge dates, they are only looking at you in an objectifying light, and you can really tell on these dates who it, like, most of the time what they want because of how they look at you. And it's so fucking demeaning. It's so demeaning. And I used to just think, oh, it's just some of these men. And I just keep going and going and going and going. And it would get me nowhere. Like, what's the point? What's the point? Like, I've only been dating for like a month. And I only talked to like 2 people. But it's enough for me. It's enough. I don't want it. I feel like you don't need that to build the character. Because I didn't have to even subject myself to a scary situation that 5 days ago. I didn't have to do that. I just thought, oh, I care for myself. I care for myself and what happens to myself so much that I'd rather prevent something from terrible to happen to me. Not saying it's my responsibility or all those times where I was in sexual violence that was my fault. I'm just saying I'd rather prevent that to happen to me again in any form possible. Like, even though it's not my responsibility and it's not my fault, I care for myself enough to say, actually, I feel my gut sentence and I'm not going to take the chance on you. I'm going to walk away. I don't want this. And building that care for yourself and building your individualism. I realized over this past 6 months, I've cultivated a bit more independency and a bit more self-reliance stuff for myself that I've started to, enjoy my presence again. And that takes time. But when you get to that moment when you finally make that decision for yourself to be happy and healthy, and yeah, maybe you would have been fine. Maybe it would have just been awkward. Maybe you would have just walked away at the end, or, but avoiding that thing that makes you uncomfortable completely. That's what shows that you care about yourself and you respect yourself and that you love yourself enough that you don't want to put yourself into danger. And I'm sick of putting myself into danger for the idea of love, for the idea of love and validation, when that just ends up a lot of the time my hope and faith in something that happens to me in a very negative way that affects me. Like, I've had a situation last year that I literally get nightmares of till this day. And I feel like it's this constant cycle of me fighting these PTSD-like moments. But it's better that I feel more love for myself now, and I feel more kind to myself now to be like, those decisions, I want to make more to be nice to myself and compassionate to myself. Anyways, I just wanted to come on and say that because I've just listened to a lot of date stories from my friends, and I always say to them, like, why do you need them? Why do you need them? But then, like, at the same time, I find myself in the same positions and I can't do anything for myself. So I felt very empowered in that moment driving away. So I feel like, empower yourself, make a decision, stop that situationship that you're like, it's not feeling nice, stop that thing that might make you like in danger of someone. Leave that person who's dangerous, do the things for yourself. But thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, ladies, protect yourself. That's the most important thing. Protect yourself. Fuck these men. Be mean. Like, in order to protect yourself, you have to be mean sometimes. Okay? All right. I love you. Bye.